Hi and welcome along to AFTV. We've got a very special guest with me today, Matt Bazell, who's written this book called Arsenal Terrace Songs and Chants. We've only got one song.
It's an Alex song chant.
Yeah?
That's why it's called We've Only Got One Song.
So you actually did it after the Alex song chant?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant.
So the first chant featured in the book is the Alex song chant.
Brilliant.
Under the play. There's a players chapter.
You've been on it before. You've written previous books on Arsenal, and on football. What was the last book again?
The last book was that's my best-selling book. That was Theatre of Silence: The Lost Soul of Football. That had 2 editions. That was a full-on rant against modern football. I only read it for the first time in years the other day, and it was just a full-on attack on modern football from. It's just the greed, the greed, the players' wages, the lack of atmosphere, the ticket pricing, and everything that there's still football's still football. It's still a great game. We still love it, but I don't personally like the modern culture, the greed, and everything like that. And Theatre of Silence, which is just it had a good run. It's just been discontinued now. But that was a full-on rant against everything I hate about modern football.
Okay, and now you've come with this book, which is the opposite.
Yeah, it's a fun book.
It's a fun book, and I've read it, and I really enjoyed this book. I've got to say to you, it's not just because you're sat here. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Because when I first read it, or when I first got it, should I say, I thought it was just going to be like a hymn book for Arsenal songs, like loads of songs in there, and they'd all just be listed down, and you could sing along to them and reminisce on them or whatever. But then when I actually started going through it, the way you've broken it down, for starters, in the different chapters. And also the history. You put the history to every song, which I found really fascinating to find out the history around some of the songs in the book.
Yeah, because it's the song, we inadvertently, that's what the book is. It just started off as a simple songbook that I put together, and then I asked a chap called Mark Andrews to come on board with me to help write it, because Mark he is an expert on Arsenal pre-Highbury, the South London days before Highbury, and I wanted to include a chapter on that. So there's 8 different chapters. There's a players chapter, a rivals chapter, Tottenham get their own chapter.
And that's a good chapter.
There's a protest and controversy, like anti-songs against people like Stan Kroenke. Then you go 20 years before that, you had the protest over the bond scheme and trying to save the North Bank, and then you go back into the 60s where Arsenal fans were singing songs to get the manager out, Billy Wright. So we are telling the history of the club via the songs. So there's 425 different songs in the book.
425?
425, and we could have included a lot more. There's loads that weren't in there. There's loads that we didn't want to. There's a few that were just too controversial. We just
I can imagine.
But there were a lot of controversial songs in there. There was a lot of songs that there's never going to get sold in the club shop ever. I was reading a couple on the tube coming down today. There's no chance it's ever getting sold. There was one about there's some that were just. It was about a Spurs fan who got killed in a fight against Manchester United. There was a song about that used to get sung on the North Bank. It was some really. We put that one. We did put that one in there, but the culture is very. Yeah, very.
It was
very
a different time, wasn't it? It was a different time, hooliganism and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and you did used to hear it, but you got a whole chapter on hooligan and.
Yeah, and that's something that people are going to be a lot of people who weren't around watching Arsenal back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. That's something that they probably don't even think that Arsenal had that element. Well, they did, particularly in the 1980s and 90s. Arsenal had a very formidable mob back then, but it was never advertised. Arsenal had this. The firm had this policy that no one would do any books, no one would do any documentaries, because they were asked to be in documentaries back in the 80s. You get those ridiculous programmes like Real Football Factories with Danny Dyer, which you get these guys on there bragging about what they used to do, and it just sounds ridiculous. Arsenal would never ever tolerate. They would never allow anyone to go on those sort of programmes and do that. So people don't associate that with Arsenal. Because I think with things like football, how we are now, we think that's how we've always been. So Arsenal now, at home, very quiet fan base, quite an affluent fan base. But if you look at the overall history of the club, it's not how it's always been. It used to be very different to that. And so there is a hooligan chapter in there, just because I went onto a fan site and I asked for people to contribute some songs which I could put in a book. all these hooligan chants started to come back. So I've got to put a chapter in there.
Really interestingly, one of the songs, because just to show you how certain songs have turned into just become regular songs. One regular song that's sung, Utopia, Guna. That was a hooligan song, wasn't it?
that was a
You
Herd
got it in the
song,
book, yeah.
So Arsenal's mob were they were known as the Herd and they were known as the Gooners. So there's two different names. So they were called the Gooners because Spurs fans, as a derogatory term, used to call Arsenal fans Gooners. So I think there's probably some point, I wasn't around back then, it's probably some point in the early 80s where Arsenal fans adopted that name.
Yep.
So to be a Gooner was a hooligan calling cry. So that was, and now you got rich folk in Hampstead who sing to be a Gooner. They've got no idea where that came from. All Arsenal fans are Gooners. If you're an Arsenal fan, you're a Gooner. Whereas back in years ago, a Gooner was that was part of the mob.
And you say, in the book, you start off, you've got a chapter going back to before Arsenal was even at Highbury.
That's why I got Mark involved, yeah.
And what was the first Arsenal chant recorded? First chant that was ever sung by Arsenal fans that is recorded out there.
Tarara Bumdie.
What?
Tarara Bumdie.
Tarara Bumdie.
The Arsenal won today. And it's an old musical song.
Tada.
It doesn't sound English.
Say it again. Tarara Bumdie.
Ta-ra Bumdie.
Tara Bumdie.
Tarara Bumdie.
Tarara Bumdie. The Arsenal won today. Now I can't see that coming back. Not that. That's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? Tarara Bumdie. The Arsenal won today.
Yeah, that's definitely not coming back.
How did that one? Where did that come from? Then?
It was an old music. I think it was an American musical song, very quaint, very charming, and it was big in England back then. So, if people can actually look it up on YouTube, if it went ta ra ra boom da, then you can go on YouTube and type in musical song. I think it is on YouTube. That'll come up. That give people an idea of what that chant was. But that's there are probably Arsenal chants before then. But in terms of actually being recorded in the media and noted, that was the first ever one. So we're going back 1892.
Wow.
With that one, 1892.
Wow. And then just throughout the book, as I said, you have certain chants and then you just tell the story of how that chant came about. You also put in the name of the tune.
Very important,
that the song was sung to.
Yeah.
So,
To Be a Gooner, we thought that was a chant with no songs. We're gutted now. Someone tweeted us with this song from the 80s, this really ridiculous pop song from the 80s. And it was to the tune of that's where To Be a Gooner come from. That I was gutted about that because we never put that in every most songs here. We put the name of the song, and in modern day, I would say that Sloop John B from the Beach Boys is the most common one. You know the da 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 da. That's a Beach Boys song.
Yeah.
Sloop John B. That's probably the most common. Billy Ray Cyrus, Achy Breaky Heart. That's probably the most common one now as well. But I think overall, the one we featured the most, the one that was to the most chants were from, was a church hymn, which is Guide Me, O Thou Jehovah. The one. Corrupted church hymns. Yeah. Corrupted musical songs.
A church hymn.
Corrupted Christmas carols. Oh, Christmas Tree, Oh, Christmas Tree. It's a famous German carol, Oh, Christmas Tree, and that one, I was reading the book on the way here. It's Oh, Christmas Tree. To all you bastards dressed in blue, the clock in Highbury is after you, and if you want to try your luck, you will all get kicked to fuck. To
a hymn.
Seaside songs.
As we do.
Yeah, so I think with English football culture, most songs are from it's the corruption of church hymns, seaside songs, musical songs, and the odd pop song.
Do you know what? We used to make up so many. That's one of the things that I say, right? And one of the things I love about English football fans. I mean, I know abroad you have your ultras and stuff like that, and you have to say they're louder than us.
They're incredible.
Yeah, because they're organised, and
Yeah.
but everything's organised.
Yeah.
They organise the songs. I've been on the yellow wall at Dortmund, and they've even got people like who are telling you what to sing next and things like that.
Yeah.
We don't do
Did
like that.
you bounce up and down?
We did bounce down.
Yeah.
You've got to. Or
Yeah.
if you don't, you're like the odd person out. It's the opposite to here. You know what I mean? So, but
because here will be one person bouncing, and everyone else.
Sit down.
Yeah.
But the thing is about what I love about English football, right, is that the spontaneous songs, and the fact that we'll make up songs, and that's one thing I miss about Arsenal. We used to make up so many songs. Vieira, we made up that song. There are lots of every song gets copied now as well, isn't it?
Every song gets copied. But the guy who claims to have invented the Vieira song is a guy called Billy Isaacs, who's also known as the Laughing Gooner. He claims to have invented that. Come up with that one. Yeah.
He came up with the song.
Yeah, he's claiming credit on that one. Billy Isaacs.
Billy Isaacs, all right.
But you're right in terms of the English football songs are unbelievable in terms of the comedy and just the audaciousness of the words. You don't get that in. I love the ultras. I love foreign football culture, but I love just the ridiculous songs you get over here. You just never get. You can't imagine that in Europe.
No, the humour.
The humour.
The humour around.
Really dark humour.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
I mean,
very dark humour.
There's a couple of Gary Mabbott songs in the book which you look at that and you think, because Gary Mabbott had diabetes.
Yeah.
Right, so there's a couple of songs in there like "What's It Like to Have No Sweets" and stuff, which is Mabbott's a junkie, that kind of thing, and it's pretty bad, but it's
but dark humour.
It's I mean and then you certainly wouldn't get that in somewhere like America, because I follow American football on the side. I enjoy America. It's an incredible sport which is ruined by adverts and
Oh yeah.
Have you ever tried to watch an American football game?
I was the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? When you watch that, you know what I mean? But it's not just it's every. There's too many breaks
on their TV. If you ever watch it on their TV, over here you watch it and
they break to a little panel who talks about it.
Panel over there.
It's just adverts. I know it's terrible.
You want to kill someone, then it's the same adverts was bombarding.
That's another book coming. You know what I mean?
And
the Theatre of Silence American version. Against modern American football.
It's their culture. I love, like I say, I love the sport, but my God, the commercialising drives you crazy. But when I watch American football, you get the odd chant. You know what I mean, like "Let's go Eagles" or "Let's go Packers" or something.
Kansas City Chiefs have got that little thing.
That's quite cool, actually. I like that. But you don't really get any chanting. You don't get any banter between the home fans. There's hardly any away fans anyway. You don't get any of that. But even that, they're not as loud as they used to be. There's an incredible clip that everyone should have a look at. It shows you the difference between what old sports fans and new sports fans. The Detroit Lions were at home back in the 90s against the New York Jets, and when the opposition has the ball, the opposition quarterback, the idea is that the fans make so much noise that they put them off. Now the Detroit fans were so loud that the referee stopped the game and he warned the fans. He goes, "You guys are too loud. You need to quiet. You need to quieten down a little bit." And obviously that didn't go down well. That was even louder than before. And he warned them one more time. Anyway, he ended up deducting. The New York Jets got given a first down and 10 yards in front.
Because of the fans.
Because of the fans. He got a penalty against the Detroit Lions for that. I mean, that would not happen. And then they showed the crowd as well. You got these guys and they're going crazy, and it's very different to Detroit Lions fans today will probably make a bit of noise, but it's not the same. Doesn't make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up like before. So things are different all over the world, not just Arsenal. And I think the whole of England is, people do. I think at Arsenal we're very honest about what's happened. We don't have the same atmosphere as what you used to have. We know that, and we're honest about it. Our away fans are fantastic, but you got clubs like Liverpool, Man City still like to pretend that I'm sorry, every time I watch Liverpool, it's dead. Apart from the odd European game.
What it is, and I've said this many times, are like the fans now. They're behind the team when they're doing well, when they're winning. It never used to be like that. It used to be like you're behind the team, whatever. You're singing songs right throughout the game.
Yeah.
That's gone. It's like, especially when you're playing smaller games. So if Arsenal are playing Man United or Tottenham, they're up for it from the beginning. Everyone's if we're playing Burnley at home, the fans are like, well, we're expecting to win this. We'll start singing once you start scoring goals and things like that. I think that's where it's changed.
The commentators buy into that as well. They're not giving the fans anything to sing about and stuff like that. And you hear fans buy into this as well. You hear fans these days. A couple of weeks ago, we played Chelsea. I loved our away fans that night.
They were brilliant.
I loved our away fans that night. And they, from me watching it on the TV, reinvigorated my passion for watching Arsenal. And our fans went crazy, particularly when the first goal went in. Yeah. People jumping all over each other. And what do you hear? Oh, you lot are celebrating like it's a cup final. That's how we used to do that all the time. That was normal. It doesn't matter who the opposition was. You have to have a cup final to enjoy yourself. You have to have a cup final to go crazy and to show some passion. And
you're right. Fans have bought into it. Bought into the whole.
The difference is you used to support your team. Now you sit down, you be entertained.
Yeah.
Sit back and be entertained.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And I think you're 100% right.
Part of the entertainment was the fans. Being in, hearing some of the songs that come out, even if it's just very simple songs. Shearer's a wanker. Shearer's a wanker. I've been in the North Bank and they could hear the clock, and all of a sudden this really clear chant came up. Shearer's a wanker. You don't have to be witty or to be funny. It's just. Yeah. It was just so spontaneous and so clear, and I just wonder what it's like for Alan Shearer to be.
Well, he go and score a goal. That's what he do, isn't it? Yeah. She wore a yellow ribbon, right? Really famous FA Cup chant.
Yeah.
For Arsenal, one of our originals as well, right?
I've heard rumours it might Man United might have.
Oh, come on, man! I thought that was ours.
We're the ones who have made it famous. It's possible it came from Manchester.
Yeah.
It's possible Manchester were the first ones. I could be completely wrong on that one, but I thought I heard from maybe Mark.
Man, that's hurt me now, man. I always thought that's one of our songs.
It could be right, Robbie. I'm not going to say. Don't take that as gospel. Don't take that as gospel. Right. Let's look into that one.
Here's another one of my favourites, right? And every time I see him, and I remember doing an interview with him, and I started singing it, and he goes, "Oh, he's going to take all day for you to sing it, Robbie." It's the Perry Groves.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Perry Groves. Number 2 is Perry Groves to the Yellow Submarine. Well, that used to be one of my favourites.
That was great. Now that was mocking the George Best one. So George Best, Man United fans used to sing that about George Best. So we did that as a joke for Perry Groves because Perry Groves was never George Best. Yeah. So that's one of the.
Again,
that's
witty,
kind of original chants.
Witty, funny.
I still think that there's original chants out there, but it's usually you see a bunch of young Arsenal fans who might be in the concourse together and they'll be singing that, and you're thinking, oh, that's quite good. But that never comes into the stadium because we don't have an area like the old North Bank, like the old Clock End, where a whole group of like-minded people would come together. That would then turn into one of the songs. Now, one criteria for this book is that for a chant to be included in the book, it does not have to be in the stadium. It could be a good old Arsenal pub like the Gunners pub or the 12 Pins, or there's a song in there from the Canadian Arsenal Supporters Association. I was in Toronto and there was a pub out there called the Fox. I went there about 5 years ago, and walking in there, it's like walking into the Gunners pub. It's like pictures like this all over the place, and there's these group of guys who were singing an Alexis Sanchez chant to the tune of Electric Avenue from Eddie Grant. So that's in there as well.
It
doesn't have to be.
And they guys make up some good songs.
Yeah, I think the passion out there for Arsenal.
Just going through it here, I'm just reminiscing on some. I remember that Come to See a Bouet. You've only come to see a Bouet. We got Ozil. We nicked that, didn't we, of West Ham?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were singing that.
Who was that for then? I don't.
Dimitri Payet they used to sing it for, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, he didn't last on there, did he?
We Love You, Freddie, though. Was that us?
Yeah.
We originated that, didn't we? I'm sure we did.
It might have been Billy Isaacs with that one, the guy who did the Vieira.
Same guy, Billy Isaacs?
It might have been Billy Isaacs that done. There's a few ones.
We need this Billy Isaacs guy to start inventing some more songs, man, because...
Well, look him up. He's called The Laughing Gooner. If you go to YouTube and look up The Laughing Gooner. He's got some good songs in there.
I used to love the Ian Wright one. Yeah. Right, to Feeling Hot, Hot, Hot. Yeah. Again, we invented that, surely. I'm sure we invented it.
I'd never heard that before, Ian Wright.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before we started doing it.
He had a generic chant, Ian Wright, and then that one came in. It was it had the charisma of Wright.
Yeah, I remember that used to get sung a lot, and it really fitted him, that song. You know what I mean? To the feeling hot.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. And you know, then you got like generic ones.
What we were talking about before with the fans get behind the team. I remember when. Particularly the tertiary years, when the opposition would score, ball goes back to the halfway line, North Bank always used to start singing in support, just a generic Arsenal song, Arsenal, and that's it's a shame that we don't have that today. You got to get fans of all clubs. They just go quiet when an opposition goal is scored. But I don't think we were talking about this before. I think atmosphere is not just volume. Related, it's the way people celebrate a goal, and people used to go absolutely ballistic when a goal went in. When you in the old North Bank, when it was the tertiary years, and all the away fans used to be in the little corner of the clock end. They used to have about 1/3 of the clock end. Remember the reaction when a goal was scored? It was always horrible when the opposition team scored, but the sight of those fans going crazy is something that young fans today don't ever see, that kind of excitement, and it was just incredible. It was just wild. I used to love
that. One of our most famous chants, which is in this book, you can tell us about the history of this one. I know, obviously, you know, obviously, but for some of the younger fans out there who hear it being sung a lot, but probably won't know, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Why? There'll be some young fans out there saying, why are they always going on about 1-0? We know it's 1-0.
Right, I think Kelvin Singer Meadows, a friend of mine, he helped us with the book. We played Paris Saint-Germain in Parc des Princes back in 93-94 season when we won the European Cup Winners' Cup. And the French fans were singing something to the tune of Go West, and Arsenal were 1-0 up at half time. So Arsenal started singing 1-0 to the Arsenal because it was of the same, to the same. They're just rubbing their noses in the fact that we're 1-0 up. And I think that came about in the second leg, where the fans started singing that. And then the next game, Ian Wright was on the big screen against Chelsea before, because he'd been banned for the final. And he gave this speech to the fans on the big screen. And about, he saw he's going to miss the final. And then he started singing 1-0 to the Arsenal. And then we beat Chelsea 1-0. And then that song was just born.
So Ian Wright invented it then?
Ian
Wright, he made it big.
He made it big, yeah. It was the fans, the away fans at Paris Saint-Germain, they made it, they started it, and then Ian Wright, via the big screen before the game, he started singing it.
And it wasn't just to do with the whole George Graham thing, that defence and...
Because when we won the league in 89 at Anfield, we won the league because we were the highest goal scorers. Goals scored. Arsenal, George Graham teams used to score a lot of goals. It's one of the misconceptions about...
but we did used to just hold on to a 1-0, didn't we?
It's when we sold Rocky Rocastle. So we sold Rocky, was it 92, 93? John Jensen came in, and there's a John Jensen chant in there as well. We were there when Jensen scored.
Oh, yeah.
It took him about
He never scored, would he?
3 years for John Jensen to score. And I missed that game. I went to every game that year. And Jensen goes...
I was at the game.
Oh, man. I thought to myself, wouldn't it be incredible if John Jensen scored? That one game I missed, we were crap that season.
I was there when Bergkamp scored his first goal.
I was there too. What a goal.
Remember, like, he was getting a lot of stick for not.
People didn't know what they're talking about, because everyone who was watching that guy play football before he scored.
You could see the signs.
The guy was unbelievable. I remember Bergkamp's first ever game was against Middlesbrough, and this guy was clearly the best player on the pitch, and then he got slated by the press because I don't know what they're expecting, a hat trick or something. They don't know what they're talking about.
1-0 up, 2-1 up. 1-0 down, 2-1 up. We knocked Spurs out of the cup. We're going to finish with that one. Tell us about that.
Well, 87 was a vintage year for beating Tottenham. I think we went to their place and Rocky scored the goal at the end, so we were 1-0 down. And I think the Spurs, Tannoy said something about you can get your cup final tickets at the end of the game by... Anyway, we went and scored 2 goals. So I think we beat Spurs 2-1 at White Hart Lane quite a few times over in that period of time. So that's back to the League Cup semi-final. There's a banner there. People actually brought a banner to the ground saying 1-0 down, 2-1 up. So that's the kind of flamboyance that fans used to have.
So Matt, listen, this is a brilliant book.
Thanks.
Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
And I know there'll be a lot of Arsenal fans out there who would love to get their hands on this one to, you know, as I say, learn the chants, and also as I said, it was a surprise to me, and what I found even better than learning the chants was the history around these chants.
It would be nice if the book inspired some of the chants to come back.
And you're right.
But people have to buy the book.
People got to buy the book, and we've got to get some of these chants back. Where can we buy this book?
Okay, if you like I say, if anyone who wants to support the high street, the shops, you can buy it in any bookshop.
I love this guy. Support the high street. Support the high street.
Support the high street. There's too many Costa coffees and Prets. Let's get some bookshops back.
Another book coming against modern high streets, against the internet. But no, you need the internet for this book.
That's uncanny, Robbie. My next book is about the disappearance of London.
Is it?
Yeah. It's about it's a photo book. It's about all the like the Trocadero and the Hammersmith Palais and all those books, all those places that are disappearing. So that's uncanny. You should say that. We didn't discuss that. That's uncanny. You should say that.
Wow.
Any bookshop, you can get it in any bookshop. You can order it from any bookshop, I should say. Foils of Charing Cross Road always have signed copies on the shelf on demand. Amazon is a very, very good place to get it. You maybe put the link of Amazon in there, or Legends Publishing. And me and Mark, we appreciate anyone who buys our book. It's most authors, 99% of authors out there, they don't make a living from being authors. I think it's a misconception people have about what we do. Is I have a day job, and Mark has a day job. It's a very, very, you can't, unless you're one of the big boys, one of the 0.1% of authors who make a living doing this. I mean, anyone who goes out there buys a book, we really appreciate people doing that. And it's a culture where people don't always think that want to buy stuff anymore, whether it's Blu-rays or CDs or books. So we appreciate anyone who supports us, and we're also related to AFTV, because I know you get a lot of stick, Robbie. But I mean, I always defend you because you've had me on before and you've had me on again. Now, if you're an author like me on a independent publisher, the BBCs and the Skies and ITVs, they don't give you a platform. Whereas you've given me a platform on quite a few occasions. So I really appreciate that. And AFTV
come on, man, no problem.
Well,
That's what we're here for.
It's giving fans a platform. It's giving someone like myself a platform, and I really appreciate that, because it's fans who wouldn't normally have a platform get to, and that's all essentially AFTV is. So I appreciate. I know you get a lot of stick from people, but I mean I appreciate you having me on and
no
talking
problem.
about
You know what? Before you go, you've got to tell me your Thai story.
Oh, Tyro.
Tyro, as you know, and we know him as Thai.
I know him as Thai. Well, the whole world knows him as Thai. The man's famous in China now. I see Chinese people. Chinese people wanted autographs from Tyro and stuff like that. And I saw Tyro and he was like, "Oh, I'll be back in a minute, Matt." Like, he's on for signing autographs. So, anyway, Tyro used to dress. I know Tyro from. We used to go games together.
He'd been going for donkeys.
Yeah, back from the night. Yeah, I've been going from about 86. I started going. I stopped going about 10 years ago. So it's not football changed, but so I know Tyro from about 95, 96. We used to go to games together, and he used to dress like a regular citizen, right? He used to dress like a little
without all the gear on.
Without all the gear on, and so Tyro, we played Fiorentina at Wembley, and Tyro.
I remember that game.
Yeah, we lost 1-0.
Wembley, yeah.
Horrible. We were so crap in the Champions League.
We were terrible at Wembley that year.
In fact, we always were crap in the Champions League, apart from 2000. So Tyro turns up to my house, then he's got a red puffer jacket on, he's got a red hat on, he's got red trousers, red tracksuit bottoms on, he's got white trainers on, red gloves, red bag, like a black Santa Claus, mini black Santa Claus. And he goes, "Matt, do you think this is over the top?" And I said, No, Tyler, that's okay, that's all right. I never said that.
So you're the one that's responsible for him wearing all that gear all the time to games?
I'm not going to take full responsibility for it, but I had a part to play.
You got a part to play, because if you would have told him and said, "Ty, you look ridiculous," then he would have been turning up to games dressed as the Arsenal shop.
Just as the Arsenal shop.
But it's now your fault. You got a part to play with.
I accept my role in, but I'm not going to take full responsibility. But he does dress. He's toned it down since then.
Toned it down?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to find a picture from them days. Please, find me a picture.
There's a Thai body double. I saw it at the Arsenal club shop. I said to Ty, I said, I see you in advertising the club shop. He goes, that wasn't me, that was...
Oh, yeah. They had an advert, and I think it was when Puma was sponsoring it.
Yeah.
And they had a guy, and literally, I thought to myself, why didn't they just come and ask Ty to do it?
He's such a great Arsenal fan, and he's such a loyal fan. Why didn't just ask Tyro? He used to work on the turnstile, Ty, and he had a long, the longest queue to get in the stadium was in the East Stand. It was from Ty's turnstile because he was talking to everyone. He's going, yeah. So all the other turnstiles were people going in. Ty's turnstile was back then. Because he's such a great fan. And although I'm not taking the piss out of Ty, what I said before, because he's a good mate. And good thing about Ty, he bites back at people, but if you're nice to him, he's nice to you.
He's the nicest guy.
Yeah, if you're good to him, he's good to you.
I've not met a nicer guy. That guy, like...
How's your family?
Yeah, when he greets you, the first thing he always says to you is, how's your family?
How's your family? Always says that to me. How's your family?
And he's so polite, but then, if you're an away fan, and you say anything at all bad about Arsenal, he's on you.
On your case.
Like a lion. I'm like,
he's on your case.
I'm like, damn it.
I've seen it so many times, whether it's Blackburn or Liverpool, we'd be walking past and some northern twat would be like, Arsenal is shit, and then... You're shit too. You're rubbish. You're shit. What about when we beat you last week? You lost last week to Chelsea. You're shit. And they're stunned because this person who they think's a walkover is suddenly, it's like a little pit bull. And I've been. Tyro just stands out from the crowd. We were walking, me and him walking down Ellen Road before an away game, and these Northerners shouting across the road, "Fucking boring Arsenal!" And. We just both had a go, and they were stunned. Oh, right, okay, these guys having a go back. He sticks up for himself.
He sticks up for himself.
But he's a lovely guy.
Lovely guy,
I love
Ty.
The only thing about Ty, you can't talk to Ty no more because, like I said before, you try and have a conversation with Ty, and there's a crowd of people around him with autograph pens, and they want to talk to him.
But listen, maybe they're going to be around you after this book because this is a brilliant book. Make sure you go out and check this book out. We've only got one song written by Matt. And Mark Andrews. I think they've done a fantastic job. I think, as I said, not just explaining the chants, but the history. We're going to put the links in the description. I really think every Arsenal fan needs to support this book. It's brilliant. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thanks, Robbie.
And keep up the good work. I'm looking out for that book on London.
That's coming out. That might even come out end of this year.
Looking out for it.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Robbie. Thank you.